it's Lee from colouringqueen.net, and you might remember this book, Coty, which is a Polish colouring book all about beautiful kitty cats. And there's also another one with beautiful puppy dogs that I've reviewed previously. Well, one of my lovely readers, Joanna, told me about the latest from the same artist, which is a Polish colouring book. But this time, what the artist has done is also included an English text as well. This one's based on Dragons Above Krakow. So completely different from the previous puppy dogs and kitty cats. A4 sized, lovely little partially coloured thumbnails on the back. And if you love mythology and dragons and all of that, I'm sure you're going to love this one. Now it's got white paper, just a card cover, white paper. Now the paper is a trade stock paper, but the images have been printed just on single-sided. So just pop some paper in between and you'll be fine. Now, the story is written here in English, which is just lovely. So the two towers of St Mary's Church are of unequal height, and the North Watchtower was higher to provide a better lookout. So it's really nice to have this backstory with the picture and be able to actually read it for once. Now Barbara, the artist, has a really lovely style. She puts a lot of texture and detail into her work. And this one more so than I think her previous books. It really is lovely, but she's got this cute and whimsical way of drawing her little characters, which are gorgeous. Now this one is so sort of sweetly cute, but unusual at the same time. It's really an interesting drawing. And it's about a sculpture called The Head that was meant to be temporary. So I feel like we're getting an education on Poland as well, which is fabulous. Now some of the line art is really faint and it's just sort of more of like a pencil sketch, and you often find this when artists hand draw their work, I find. Ends up with that sort of sketchy look. So as long as you don't mind like little missing lines, I'm sure you'll love it. I can't believe how different this book is, but similar to her previous ones. Now each illustration has the lovely border around it, and they are all well away from the spine so that you don't have to worry about the crease. If you love doing dragon scales and stonework, timber, and all of those things, you're really going to love this book. Now one of the big differences for me is, and not having seen her art outside of the colouring world, is how many people are in this book and how cute and sort of cartoony they are. You got this dragon curled up with its little dolly with this beautiful tapestry on the wall. It's so different. There's so much dimension and there's such a different use of line weight, and it's really interesting. A lot of like a stippled effect here to get the texture. A lot of texture in her legs and whatnot. It's just a really super interesting book. Now this is the National Museum in Krakow. So I assume this is the fire from our dragons. And I mean, some of the details are a little bit hard to see when they're like that, but by the same token I don't have my glasses on either, so. And we've got the dragon looking in on the glass ceiling. Oh, this is a contemporary art gallery, concrete poetry. I've never heard of that before, so I really am getting an education today. You've got all the people climbing the trees. And this couple don't look like they're worried at all. Now the little houses in the distance are all sort of very sketchy, but that's the sort of look with this type of book. So if it bothers you to have, unclosed lines or things like that, It might not be for you, but that's the sort of way that the artwork presents itself. And when you sort of wash over it and just sort of dab, it looks really beautiful. I can't believe how much detail is in each page either. There's just a lot of work here. So you've got metal things to colour, beautiful bricks, beautiful big doors, and of course all these sort of cartoony people in contrast. And this is one of those padlock bridges. And again, the sketchy picture of the area in the distance. Because really it's all about the dragon. It's a beautiful winter scene. And he's making giant bubbles. So colourists that love to colour in bubbles, I don't think I've ever seen a picture that has so many in them. Now the spine was a bit tight, so I've given it a big push and used all my muscles to push it down because it was running away from me. And it's really easy to get distracted by the history over here. And there's actually a great dragon parade. That's what that text on the previous page related to. So what a great idea for a colouring book. And of course it is now over. So our beautiful dragons are over Krakow from our lovely Polish artist, and I'll put the links below to her previous colouring books that I've reviewed as well. She's a fabulous artist. This one's very different from her previous ones, but extremely beautiful. Until next time, happy colouring.